Heart Health Month, high cholesterol and high blood pressure are leading risk factors for problems. Joining us this morning is Dr. David Persse, Chief Medical Officer for the Houston Health Department. Dr. Persse, always great to see you. Appreciate your time this morning. Let's jump right in here. How many adults in the city of Houston have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and do they often go hand in hand?
Yeah, so both high blood pressure and high cholesterol are unfortunately common. So across the United States, we figure it's about a third of the population has high blood pressure, about another third has high cholesterol. So here in Houston, if you figure we've got around 2.3 million Houstonians, that's somewhere between 700,000 and 800,000 people with high blood pressure. And and there's also 700,000 to 800,000 people with high cholesterol. Now, about 60% of the people who have high blood pressure also have high cholesterol. So that's the double whammy, which can set you up for some really serious health problems down the road.
Okay, so high blood pressure can do more than just damage your heart. So why is it so important to get a blood test for cholesterol?
Well, high blood pressure can damage almost any organ. So we know, I think it's pretty common that people know it can damage your heart. It can also damage your brain, and it can damage pretty much any organ in your body because of that high pressure just stretching those blood vessels. High blood pressure generally doesn't cause symptoms until something catastrophic happens. Similarly with high cholesterol, it is a silent killer. So you have to get the blood test in order to determine, it's called a lipid profile to determine, what your cholesterol looks like. And there's different kinds of cholesterol. So there's low density LDL and there's high density HDL. The HDL is actually good. The LDL is the bad. You can only determine those through a blood test.
What can folks start doing today to lower their risk of heart problems?
We are not out of control with this. There are a number of things that we can do. First of all, if you don't smoke, don't start. Smoking is absolutely very damaging to blood vessels. And so if you've got high blood pressure and you've got high cholesterol, now you've got a third thing attacking your blood vessels. So smoking is very bad. If you are smoking, try to stop. Exercise is really, really important. Exercise will actually increase the amount of high density cholesterol that we look for. That is good, and by exercising you can increase that, but you need to exercise probably at least 30 minutes a day, probably at least 5 days a week. And then the other thing is to pay close attention to your diet. Stay away from the things that got lots of saturated and trans fat. You may need to look it up on the labeling or look up on the web to find out which is which. But we all know that good green leafy vegetables are good for you. A plant-based diet is pretty good for you. Easy on the dark red meats. I think pretty much folks have a good idea. But if in question, you can look up. It's the saturated fats and the trans fats are the things you want to avoid.
Yeah, I know you can't stress exercise and diet enough. Before we let you go, how often should folks go see their doctor to get these tests performed?
Well, certainly you should go at least once a year to find out. Every year you should be going at least once a year every year. And then should your doctor determine there's a problem, he or she will determine whether or not you need to be seen more frequently than that. But at a bare minimum, you should be going at least once a year to get your blood pressure checked and to get that blood test done to look at your cholesterol levels.
Dr. David Persse, your insight and perspective is always greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us